Welcome in, everybody. This is the Mind of a Coach podcast. I am your co-host, Asa Duvall. I got with me my best friend, Nathan Moran. Nathan, how you doing today, man?
I'm living life. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm alive and kicking. Been a slow week so far, but I'm here, man. I'm
We
here.
need to get
So
you a shirt that says "Alive and Kicking."
we really do. Yeah, we really do.
There you
Hey, I
go.
mean, if I'm alive and kicking, I can't complain, man. I can't complain.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, man. Well, you got a historical fact of the week for us?
I do, and it is going to be a very easy one, and most people probably have heard it that are listening to this.
Yeah.
But if anybody does not know, the Legault just won his fourth championship. He has won two of the oddest championships in recent history with a 3-1 comeback and a bubble championship, which is also leading me into the other historical fact. I have one A and one B, and that's
All
the
right.
Lakers have won 17 titles in their franchise history, which ties the Boston Celtics for the most titles. So there we go. And
Okay.
I think it's going to be a soon pass on that
Yeah.
come 2021.
Well, Celtics fans are going to tell you that the Lakers only have 12 titles
Oh, why is that?
because Minneapolis, because five of them were in
Mm,
Minneapolis. So Celtics fans are going to tell you that they only got 12.
that's interesting. And Asa, I'm drinking some coffee. I know it's late at night, but I thought I would pull out my basketball mug for the night. So
I like it. I like it.
it's
I like it.
get invested in this.
I know you touched on the Lakers a little bit. You got anything positive this week for us?
Um, I do, and I already said it. It's LeBron James. LeBron James. I've been back and forth on LeBron because LeBron is one of those guys that he angers me
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when I watch him play
Yeah.
because maybe he won't be as aggressive or he'll complain to the refs. That's really what I get angered by.
Yep.
I mean, obviously he does it for a reason because he gets calls, but it's just like I don't want my son or daughter or player to ever act like that. But hey, it's the best
Yeah.
player in the world, so I'll step back. But my weekly positivity is that we are witnessing greatness, and if for
Mhm.
anybody that does not like LeBron, I hope you can realize what you have in front of you right now because we might never see a talent like this again in the next 20,
Yeah.
30 years. So or maybe ever. I mean, everybody gets bigger, faster, stronger, and becomes more talented. But
Right. Right.
I mean, he is the definition of fine wine.
Yeah.
He stays where he is,
Yeah. He's testing father time for sure.
and I wouldn't be surprised if he wins two more in a row, gets three-peat, walks out with the magic number 6.
That'd be something, man. That'd be
So we'll
something.
see.
Yeah, that was pretty much mine too. It was good to see LeBron get another one. Obviously, I'm a pretty big LeBron guy, so it was good to see him get one. Anthony Davis played phenomenal. Credit to the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler because they fought to the end. They competed like crazy. But so so that was pretty much mine. I did start The Sopranos last week, so that's been pretty good. It's a cool little show. I know a lot of people consider it to be their favorite show ever, so I guess that's positive. I started a new show,
Yeah,
but
there you go.
little,
There you
little
go.
off topic. But all right, man. So I guess this is my first time introducing my segment. Ace has got to get this off his chest.
Yes, sir.
Oh man. All right. Well, if you're tired of the LeBron stuff, I apologize. But Nathan, I want to take a moment to congratulate the LeBron haters on getting first team all defense because with this effort and this reach at this point, with all that LeBron has accomplished, that's exactly what y'all earned. First team all defense with that effort and that reach. Listen, go down to the bubble, start of the playoffs. They're playing the Trailblazers. Oh my gosh, Dame time. They're the best 8 seed in the history. Curb stomped. All right, move on to round 2. They're playing the Rockets. James Harden, Russell Westbrook. How you going to stop them? Curb stomped. Nuggets, round 3. Western semis. Jamal Murray, Jokic. He's a magician with the ball. How you going to stop him? Curb stomped. On to the finals. Year 17. LeBron, Anthony Davis taking on Jimmy Butler. All right. 3-1. Jimmy Butler comes out, has a game of his career. LeBron
Curb stomped.
goes to game 6. Cool. What happened in game 6, Nate? Curb stomped. I had to get that off my chest, man. I had to get it. It was a great run. It was incredible to watch. I had to get that off my chest, man. I'm sorry.
All right. Hey, there you go. There you go. I hope you
Man,
feel better now.
yeah, I do. I got it off my chest. I feel a little better. Nate, you got some keys for us this week?
Yes, sir, I do. And We just finished our playing time series, and I want to just hit on something small but super important. And that one is going to be 3 keys to a great leader. And I'm going to keep it short and concise, but with really quality information, or at least I'm going to try to provide that. And number 1 is lead with humility. C.S. Lewis said it best when he said, humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less.
Yeah.
Leaders must firmly believe in we is greater than me. And it's very easy to say, it's very hard to do. And we see that the best leaders fight through that adversity and really push the we is greater than me. Like for a player, it doesn't matter who plays, scores, rebounds, makes the last shot. It doesn't matter who gets the credit. As a coach, it doesn't matter who did the scout. It doesn't matter who gets the credit for an assignment or making a defensive adjustment. It is the team. Yeah. It is everybody involved, and is we is greater than me, and always giving proper people credit. So that is number 1. Number 2 is foot service is greater than lip service. Okay. And actions speak louder than words. I mean, we all have heard this for ages and ages and ages, but it's the truth, and it can be said from time and time again. So lead by doing, not by saying. We might know someone who wants to lead, or who you and I have seen that has tried to lead, but their words contradict their actions.
Yeah.
And I know personally that it's tough to follow somebody that is trying to speak it, but will not actually follow their own words. Yep. And then that's when you get into people talking behind people's back, like, well, he's not doing it, why should I do it? Or anything on that ground. So I think it's definitely important to move your feet, shut your mouth.
Yeah. That's a
move
good
your
one.
feet,
like
shut your mouth. And which leads into the third one. And I said I was going to roll through these, but I hope everybody can write these down and take good notes, is hold others accountable. Great leaders hold each other accountable. And that does not happen if you do not lead with humility and if you're not walking the talk.
Yeah.
Instead of just talking the talk. So
be about it.
Yep. So don't let people say or do things that might be detrimental to themselves or to the team. Guess what? Leaders have to have tough conversations.
There we go.
I might just be tough conversation, Nate. I don't know. But I think that's just like what it's coming to, is tough conversations are going to have to be a part of your life. And
man, it's a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think leaders are definitely going to have to take that step and have tough conversations. So people might be pissed that you said it to them in the first place. But if you're a guy or a leader that has walked the walk along with saying and talking the talk, although someone might be upset or pissed off at you at first, they're eventually going to come around to be like, you're right. He's got my best interest in mind. He's doing it. I feel like I should follow. Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, those are my keys today. And Asa, that brings us into our first guest of this Mind of a Coach podcast. And I could not be more thrilled to have this man on with us. It is an honor, and we will be introducing Sean Rutigliano.
No, you got to take that screen off.
I was asked to be the guest, therefore I can do what I please.
I
can do what I please.
Golly.
I mean, I worked all for you guys tonight. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this.
This is unbelievable.
Hey, so you know what time it is?
What time is it?
Brewing time.
Yeah, all right, okay. We got an in-conference foe, ladies and gentlemen. We got an in-conference foe on the meeting right now.
I can tell you who's not a foe right now, and that's Lee University.
Nathan, do you know that every year, besides 2 games a year now, I root for Tennessee State because of Asa, and now I'm going to come on here. I'm just going to get bashed. Unbelievable.
I didn't bash you.
It's ridiculous. It's truly ridiculous.
Good to see you, Asa. Asa Spade.
Good to see you too, Coach. Good to see you too. How you doing?
Hey, Coach R, you like my mug?
I do like the mug. It's very nice. It's a nice touch.
Thank you. I switched over from coffee to tea tonight, so I'm going to stay up a little bit later, but, then soothe it and go to bed.
What kind of tea are you working with?
Some Arbonne tea, the wife got the hookup.
Very nice. I like the 1,000-point bowl I see back there from BGA, and then the Lipscomb ball back there I see. Very nice. Very nice setup you got there.
Appreciate it. If I move my head this way, then you can see those.
Yeah, those are nice. That's very nice.
Yeah.
Asa,
Are we really doing this? Are we trying to have a competition?
I think we are. I think this is happening right now, Nate.
All right, then I'll just move my right shoulder. That
I'm
way the
taking
lips go, the L's in the background for me.
I'm taking it off.
Asa, congratulations on LeBron's NBA title. I know you're a big LeBron guy.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Very welcome.
It was good to see that. I needed that. It was really good to see.
Good. I'm happy.
How do
for
you feel about it?
I've never personally been a big LeBron fan, but I respect him as a player. I respect him what he's done for the game. I respect what he's done for social justice, and he continues to do. So
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for him. I've just never been a fan of his. I've been fans of other players.
And you haven't been a fan of his because he complains all the time, or what is it specifically?
I struggle with that. And then I also struggle with, not that I'm saying Jordan or Kobe or LeBron are better, but just growing up, I was a Jordan fan. So I hate that they compare the two because they're totally different players. So is Kobe's totally different. Yeah. And I wish they would just give respect to all three of them and just end it right there. But I guess I have to take one side or the other, and I'm gonna take the Jordan side.
Wow. Yeah. So, it's 2020, man. You got to take one side. There's no middle ground anymore.
There's zero middle ground. Zero. And I want you guys to hold true to that for the rest of this Zoom. I don't want any middle ground. I want decisive answers right here.
We'll be decisive for you.
Okay. I like that.
Oh, my goodness. All right, guys. So our guest this week, our first guest of the week or of this podcast is Sean Rutigliano. He is currently in his second year at Belmont. In his first year, he helped lead Belmont to an OVC championship before the season ended abruptly. 4 years prior, Coach Rutigliano helped lead the Bisons to new heights, making an NCAA tournament appearance and NIT finals run, where he helped lead the Bisons in victories over Davidson, UNCG, NC State, and Wichita State before falling to Texas. Prior to that, he spent 5 years at Army West Point as an assistant coach and also spent time at Keene University, UAH, and I'm going to let him help me out with this one. Uchida?
Ouachita Baptist. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
That is a tough one for sure. Ouachita Baptist University. He also played basketball and tennis, for those people that did not know, at Sunny Rockland Community College. He also received his master's degree from Ball State. He has a wife named Bridget and a son named Caleb or KJ. Coach, glad you could come on and join us.
Well, thank you for having me as your first guest. I mean, I'm truly honored. I've listened to you guys on here, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And I don't mean that just because I love you guys, but I mean it because it's great for coaches. It's great for growing the game. And so I'm just thankful you guys asked me to be on here, and there's nothing more I could ask for than 7:45 on a Monday night to be with you two.
I'm sure probably being with your family would be a little better, but I definitely appreciate you coming on.
Well, yeah, they're sleeping. They're sleeping. Yeah. It's 7:45. I mean, they're done. They're sleeping. So we're okay.
It's a weekday.
Yeah,
we've been excited, man. We've been talking about it all weekend, so we really have been excited. We wanted you to be the first one because I knew it'd be a good time for all of us. So
yeah, I can't disappoint. I got to set the bar really high.
Man. You got to have a good first impression.
No doubt.
All right. So the first question, you ready?
I can't wait.
Okay. So a one-on-one, who you got? Garrison Matthews or Josh? And I'm going to say this last name wrong. Maggette?
Oh,
Maggette. Josh Maggette or Garrison Matthews or Nathan Moran or Asa Duvall for your King of the Hill one-on-one battle.
King of the Hill. Okay. You want me – so all four of these is cutthroat one-on-one. So this is what
yeah.
here, right?
Yeah. You get scored on, you're off. Well, actually, we're not playing Make It Take It. We're not playing Make It Take It so everybody has a chance. That way I give everyone a chance in here.
Okay.
Myself.
And I could be brutally honest here. I'm not going to hurt any feelings.
Please.
Okay.
So Garrison or Josh? So Garrison or Josh?
All right. Let me just clear this up. I would just worry that Asa wouldn't make it. I mean, he's very injury prone, and I worry about him. You know what I mean? Very injury prone. I worry about that.
Yeah, I'd be sidelined before it even started.
I think
both of us would be.
I worry about Nathan in the post. You know what I mean? I feel like those two, not so much Maggette, but Garrison take you down in the post. You know what I mean? I feel like you'd be fine on the perimeter.
Well, do I have a referee? Could I get a charge call?
No, we're not doing this. You don't have LeBron rules. We're not getting that out of here. Okay, get those out.
That's fine.
So we take Garrison or Maggette. I'm going to go, and I know this is going to hurt Garrison's feelings. I'm going to go with Majette just because he's had a longer NBA career. So
That makes
obviously
sense.
Garrison's in the midst of his career.
Mhm.
I just think he's a little more worldly. He's played overseas. He's done some things. He probably has that grown man game that you can't teach.
Yeah.
But I don't think there'd be a lot of defense on either end of that one-on-one battle. So it'd probably be the first person to score the total. So, but obviously both of those are two of the best players I've ever been privileged to coach. So it'd be a great game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Asa could make it out of there, I would like to see it. I would like to see it. He gets a little physical down there, so I would
If
love
I
to see
remember-
him and Garrison start talking to each other. That would be an interesting.
It would just be hard for Asa because he's such a zone guy, and you can't really play a one-on-one zone.
I'm such
so-
One-on-one.
I mean, I remember those great, Lipscomb teams when we went 2-3 zone. That was like Asa's specialty.
yeah.
That was a specialty.
The practice squad.
No. There were meaningful moments on the defensive end that we put Asa in there as a defensive stopper.
I don't know if there is no truth to that whatsoever.
Hey, Asa could go out there and get you a steal.
No doubt.
He was going to
No doubt he
gamble.
could.
Now, was he going to miss it sometimes and they were going to go by? Sure, but
Sure.
he was going to get you some steals there.
Yeah, I mean, high risk, high reward. That's
Yeah.
what it comes down to.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
He can live with that. All right, Coach. So I got a question. When it comes to work ethic as a college basketball player compared to a college basketball coach, you've done both. What would you say is the biggest difference as a coach, like just growing or transitioning from player to coach?
Sure. I think one of the things I think most coaches really struggle with is I think obviously, being at Division I level, any level for that matter, there's a lot of time that goes into it as a player. And I don't think anybody on the outside, whether it's Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, junior college, if you're a college basketball player, there's going to be a lot of time, effort that goes into your craft. And I think sometimes as coaches, we get caught up into we think 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old kids should invest as much as we do when this is our livelihood. And obviously it goes way deeper, which I hope we get into later in our episode here, but it goes way deeper than just coaching them. But I feel like as coaches, we kind of get caught up and we think that this should be their everything. And in the grand scheme of things, your players have a personal life. They're full-time student athletes. So they're students first, athletes second, and they have a lot on their plate. And, we're, for the most part, we're adults and we've been through that phase of our life. And so we can't expect all the time for our student athletes to understand the amount of time and effort and commitment that goes into it. Now you hope over their 4-year career from freshman year to senior year that they start to see it more as you see it.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that is important. But I don't think you can expect a freshman right out of high school. And don't get me wrong, I think there's some great high school coaches out there. I mean, there's some of the best in the country that put a lot of time, a lot of effort into it, but you just don't get them as much. Yeah. And it's more structured the days in high school where in college, you just have them for a lot more. And so I do think there's a big parallel between the amount of time it goes into coaching and playing, but I also think we got to understand as coaches, like, hey, you also need balance for your players. And I think that's so important that, I know Coach Alexander always said, and I think we tried to hold true to it all the time, if you could take basketball out of the equation, would you do it over again? And I think if you just make it about your work ethic and basketball all the time and that's it, I think you're really, really coming up short in terms of maturing your players and helping them grow because you want their work ethic and you should mold their work ethic. But I don't ever think it could be as much as a coach because you want them to enjoy some other things during their college time and for them to grow off the court spiritually, socially, and to really, show some growth there. And so if it's all about work ethic all the time in basketball, I think you're missing out.
Yeah.
One of the things that's funny because not funny, but one of the things I realized that you don't really realize as a player is how much time you have to put into being a coach if you want to be successful. I mean, it's way more than I think a lot of players out there realize. And it's something that I didn't know, the full extent of until I started coaching.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, it is, you make your sacrifices away from your friends and family a lot. And, obviously the 13 to 17 guys on your roster, they become your extended family. And, every one of those players become your son. And this isn't coach speak right here. Like, I think the best transformational coaches are one that really, invest in their players. And, once their career is done, you still keep in contact. You still help them make really tough decisions. And I think that's probably the most important is those relationships you're going to build over your coaching career.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, you're just talking about it, but you really are about it. I mean, I remember when I was trying to figure out what my next decision was, you were there for me and you talked to me and we just chatted about it and you kind of gave me your insight. So yeah, I'm definitely appreciative for that. And look forward to doing that hopefully for players down the line.
Yeah,
But,
no, you definitely will, because you care about them. And I think that's one of the most important things is, as long as your intentions are good for your players and they're pure and they're about the right stuff, you can never really make the wrong decision.
That's good.
Certainly.
Quote it, put it on a book, put it on a t-shirt.
Don't do that. No one's going to buy it.
Oh, man.
Oh, they might. All right. So, hey, we got another one for you. And you were only 35 years old for the people out there. 35. And what? Have you been an assistant coach at the Division I level for 7 years? No.
Golly, how many years has it been?
Well, this will be your second at Belmont, 4 at Lipscomb, and you had 4 at Army.
10 years.
I mean, that's a resume of success right there, and especially for whatever you've been or for what you've been able to accomplish. So, do you think your age gap with players plays a large ability in or a large factor in your ability to relate to them? And how are you able to develop the relationship with players while also keeping the fine line between player and coach?
I think the first way I answer the question is I think I've been fortunate that I've worked for some really good coaches. Obviously, I'm an assistant coach. I'm only as good as my head coach. And I've worked for some bosses that are about the right stuff. And I think, here's a tidbit for any young coach, and I don't have a lot of good information, but I can tell you is you want to work for somebody that has a similar vision to you. And obviously when you're young and you first get into it, and I'm still learning every day, I'm a lifelong learner. I think that's one of the most important things you can be. You have a vision of what your program's going to look like one day when you inherit a program. And obviously when you take a job, you want to work for somebody that is about the right stuff. And I would say character is probably one of the most important things. Forget X's and O's, forget all that stuff. You want to make sure they're about the right stuff. And I've been fortunate that I've worked for really good people. Now, in terms of being an assistant and having that relationship with players, I think it's really hard. The best way I can answer that question. I think as a younger assistant, and I wouldn't call 35 young anymore, but as a younger assistant, I think your head coach wants you to be that liaison between the players and the coaching staff. And you got to kind of have the heartbeat of the team, and you have to see problems and before they happen, and you got to be able to help players before it happens. But you also have to have that, there's a thin line between you being a friend and you being someone that they come to for help and so on and so forth. There
Absolutely.
has to be an amount of respect. And so I do think it's a really hard question to answer. And again, I'll tell you, old coach speak saying, players don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Yeah. And I think I will say that for the rest of my coaching career because I believed in it as a player. I truly believed in it. I could care less if my coach was one of the best X's and O's, because if he was the best X's and O's, but he didn't care about me, I wasn't going to run through a wall for him. And I had some good coaches that I would do anything for him and the program because they truly cared about me. And so Absolutely. I think as long as you are a young, old, whatever kind of coach, and you care for your players, and whether that's being on a more personal level or if you're kind of closed off, but your players still know you care, I think the most important thing as a young assistant is to make sure you're invested in your players' lives. Be a part of it, have your hand on it. Don't overstep your boundaries, but you also got to know like when you do need to step in. When I was an assistant at UAH, someone said, how was your first full-time year in coaching? And I said, I feel more like a marriage counselor than I am a basketball coach because I feel like We
Yeah.
had so many relationship problems, and I really didn't say much. Like, people just came, they just wanted you to listen, and you're more of a sounding board. And in the grand scheme of things, I've talked to some of those kids, and they don't remember me on the sideline. They don't remember me coaching them in practice, but they remember coming to my on-campus apartment and just sitting there on the couch and talking about a problem they had, with a young lady that wasn't going good, or something they were having problems at home, or, whatever it may be that they felt was something that really bothered them and it was heavy on their heart. They remember those things more than they do the basketball court sometimes.
So how do you show them, your players, that you care without kind of pushing it too far? Because with kid, there's a such thing as pushing a kid kind of too far and overstepping that boundary, like you mentioned. How do you navigate through that?
Sure. I think one of the biggest things is everybody says, I'm going to coach everybody the same. Everybody's going to be treated fairly. Everybody can be treated fairly, but not everybody's going to be treated the same. And so I know a lot of coaches are going to come on and they're going to say, no, everybody's treated fairly. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got to be treated a little bit different. Now, you got to treat every one of your players with respect.
Right.
You got to hold them all to a high standard, but everybody's going to be treated a little bit differently. And everybody's going to be coached a little differently, because if you're a good coach, I feel like how different guys tick and how different guys react to different kind of coaching or mentoring and so on and so forth. And so I think when you have a player that understands that you're trying to really reach them and you're trying to get a good feel for what they need to make them their best, I feel like over time that's going to win over that player, that young person, and you're going to gain their respect. And through the course of time and through the course of long conversation, you're going to get to know them on a deeper level besides the basketball court, besides the classroom. Like, don't go to your players all the time and say, hey, what are you doing to get better with your handle? What are you doing better to get better with your shot?
Yep.
Right.
Hey, man, come to my office. You don't bring up basketball one time to those kids, and you talk to them, like, what's going on with you? Is everything okay? And don't ask them if everything's okay when basketball's not going well.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them if everything's okay when you just feel like there's something wrong.
Yeah,
because
sure.
I could tell you as coaches, we want to be asked all the time, hey, what's going on at home? Is everything all right with your son? Is everything all right with your wife? And a lot of time, it just kind of gets overlooked. And so I think it's important for you to have meaningful conversations with your player early and often, and to build that relationship over a 4-year period.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree more with that. I think it's, I definitely feel like my coaching style or even my playing style was pretty similar. I thought it was more important to learn how to treat everybody differently, but to respect everybody in the same way.
Sure.
And yeah. I think what you're saying right now, I mean, I relate to it personally, because as a leader on a basketball team at any level, even if you're a player, coach, whatever, you have to be able to bring everybody in and make them feel just as important. The last guy on the bench to the first guy on the bench, the guy with the biggest attitude that hates coach to the guy that loves coach. So sure. I think you hit that nail right on the head.
Yeah. And everybody on that team, on that roster, has some kind of value, whether you're playing 35 minutes a game or you're playing, sparingly from game to game. What can your value be? And if your coaching staff knows, if you know that your coaching staff truly cares about you, you're going to embrace that role. Mm-hmm. And so it's your job to make sure they understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. If there was one thing that you would hang your hat on as a coach at the end of the day, knowing if I don't do everything else, but I do this, I will still be successful, what would it be? Or how would a young person find their niche in the coaching realm?
For me, I would say, and I know this is going to be different from person to person, I would say build lifelong relationships. This might sound like coach speak, and I'm going to use that term a lot because I know it gets brought up. I am just it's just me. It's who I am. I'm a big relational person. And I feel like, it is one of the coolest things ever was going to the NCAA tournament with you. You know what I mean? And doing that was awesome. Going to the NIT final, going back home to New York, that was awesome. I think some of the cooler things that have happened in my career, and they're not always the happiest of moments, is really hard conversations with former players. When they call you, when they can call parents or other friends, but they call you when they lose a loved one, or they call you when they're having marriage problems, or they call you when they're dealing with a serious problem, or they call you when, they're having problems with their kids, which I have no idea because I go through that every day where I'm trying to figure out how to be a good father to my son. But like when they call you with something other than basketball and you realize that your relationship was strong enough to last the test of time,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's something that I want to continue to have. And, Coach Smith from North Carolina, I thought this was cool. I read an article that he used to send former players like $100 in the mail. And
I read that, yeah.
That's cool.
and the reason for it was, he said, take your wife out to dinner on coach, because that's more important than anything, is your relationship with your wife. And I remember reading that article and I said, man, that is so strong. And just so you know, one of you's married, no one's getting $100 in the mail.
I was about to say, because I need that. I ain't married, but
Hey,
I need that $100 in the mail.
Let's not get this twisted right now. No one's getting any $100 in the mail. Okay. Now you might get a thank you card, but
It's going right there.
That's about it.
You're saying you don't have the same salary as Dean Smith?
I do not. So
not yet.
You get courtside seats to a Belmont game. I'll share my season tickets with you, but that's it for now. But yeah, I would say that those are more important to me, because one day, whether I'm coaching or I'm selling real estate or I'm in the business world or I'm teaching or whatever I'm doing, I would hope that I can call a player at Ouachita Baptist or at Alabama Huntsville or at Lipscomb or Army or Belmont, and we can carry a conversation like we're still in the office or we're still on the court and we're still talking about things and we don't miss a beat. You know what I mean? Like when we talk on the phone, I don't think we ever miss a beat. Ask me how my wife's doing, how my son's doing. I ask you how your wife's doing. Asa, I'm asking you how your girlfriend at the time's doing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I think those are just so valuable and meaningful. And I feel like you would just really – I love coaching, but I love even more the relationships that you build with coaches, colleagues, support staff, players, student managers, student assistants. I think that stuff is probably the thing I love most. What was the second part of your question? I'm sorry, I might have missed it.
No, you're good. It would be for a young coach. I mean, I feel like you answered it, to be honest.
Okay, well then I'm good. I'm off the hook.
But no, I'm going to ask it to you again just in case you have a different answer, because I'm loving what you're saying right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as a young coach, how would you find your niche, or what would you do in order to find your niche? And I mean, you basically just said building relationships is a niche for anybody if you have a passion for it. But anyway, I'll let you go into that.
I think the niche part would be whoever you're working for, your niche is what they need you to be. Your job as an assistant coach or support staff role, whether it's operations, whether it's video, your niche is to make your head coach's job as easy as it can be. And if they're a great recruiter and they need more help X's and O's, you find ways to help them with X's and O's. If they're a great X's and O's and they need you to find better players and guys that fit their style, your job is to find better players that fit their style and that they can coach. If they're disorganized, well, your job is to organize that head coach. And I feel like your niche, if you want to be a good assistant, is to change your niche from job to job. And so never get locked into one position where you can't change, because the person you work for is going to change and their needs are going to change. And so you need to change, develop, and move yourself along into your profession and your craft to help your head coach as best as possible.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Asa, you got anything?
No, man. No, I thought what you said was wonderful. So no, I don't.
Wonderful.
That's a good word. Wonderful. I like it, Asa.
Nice word in there every once in a while.
Hey, that actually brings up a good point. So my next question kind of relates to that. And when you came to Lipscomb, if I could be wrong when I say this, you helped bring in the Princeton offense, correct?
I wouldn't say I brought in the Princeton offense. I would say that we were a motion team. And I would say a few times Coach Alexander picked my brain about some things, and he put in a few very minor kind of flavors of the Princeton in a couple of sets here and there.
Gotcha.
But obviously Coach Alexander is a heck of a ball coach, and he's been a motion coach, and obviously by the numbers, it's been successful everywhere he's been.
Absolutely.
And so we ran a couple of little things where he picked my brain and he kind of implemented himself. But I think that's one of the best things about coaching is, in all honesty, no ideas are really original ideas. We're taking coaches. And Coach Alexander has helped me, and I know I'm getting off a little bit, but Coach Alexander has helped me because I saw the game one way and he opened my eyes to a different way of seeing the game. And Coach Alexander is a head coach through and through, and he is very strong in his beliefs and his coaching. And so I respect him completely. And so he has really helped me see the game differently. But yeah, when I first got into coaching, I worked for Mark Price and Lenny Akoff. And then
he was at Wichita, right? Mark Price was at Wichita.
Mark Price was at Furman, and then he was at Ouachita Baptist, and he was
Ouachita. That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Yeah. He was the head coach at Ouachita.
Yeah.
And he also worked for Coach Akoff at Huntsville, and so there was a lot of Princeton feel to it. And so that was kind of, again, where you talk about finding your niche, like that was my first 4 years. And then when I got to Army, we ran a lot of the Princeton in sets. And so, when you hear something every day for 8 straight years, you kind of feel like, well, this is it. I mean, this is how the game should be played. And then going to Lipscomb and being around Coach Alexander, there's no way you can't buy into it, because being top 15 in the country in terms of tempo, in terms of points per game, you realize, well, if you're going to question something, don't question the offense because it's not broken. And so it was really helpful to me, and I know I'm off topic again, but it was really helpful for me, again, to get a different aspect of the game and to see it differently. And the past 3 years, I've really gotten into the NBA, and I have never, ever been a ball screen guy. But now that I watch a lot of NBA, it's opened my eyes to, my goodness, there is so much stuff happening in an NBA shot clock to get to a ball screen on a different angle, set by a different player, to force a switch, to get guys in different situations, to get help guys to squeeze on different parts of the floor. And so that's probably where I felt like I've grown and left my niche a little bit in terms of, entering different realms and understanding different things and continuing to try to learn to make the game easier for my players and to help them be more successful. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the more you get, or the more you watch the NBA, I mean, you hear so many people talk about the NBA specifically. I know this is a little part of what you said, but it's kind of what stuck to me is a little part of the NBA where people see the NBA and they're like, oh, this person's just scoring a bunch of points. They don't understand how effective ball screens can be. I mean, all of a sudden you green it and back off, and you're going to give a guy that can get downhill off you if you get a good screen, get into the elbow. I mean, in the NBA, that's automatic.
Yeah.
Even though it's analytically, people say don't take the mid-range jump shot. I mean, it's automatic. But I mean, there's just so many different things. I could go on about it, but
no, the NBA has been great. I mean, those guys are some of the best in terms of obviously sideline out of bounds is just unbelievable. And, the way they're able to manipulate defenses to get guys to switch, and to get it, it's just unbelievable. Like the past, this year, you're trying to get LeBron and Davis, in mismatches. And then you have, I wouldn't say, the Lakers' 2 point guards are not their primary positions in terms of those guys being the stars, but you have 2 guys that, because those other 2, and to get them in different situations on the floor and get them in space. I mean, I wouldn't know how to guard those guys. Like I wouldn't even begin to be like, all right, well, this is how we're going to go into the game.
Yeah.
And then when you had the Warriors all those years where they were so good, I mean, their biggest Achilles and biggest strength was Curry on offense, but then on defense, all they were trying to do is get him switch on a ball screen. And so it's just unbelievable how much thought goes into the short shot clock in the NBA and how many times you can get a team to switch and how you can, kind of manipulate the opposing team's defense so you can get your best player, best shot. And then you also just have guys that are just unbelievable ball screen guys where it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about switching. I mean, Luka Doncic, that last play against the Clippers where they got 2 screens and got a switch. He got off of Kawhi. And I think was it Reggie Jackson guarding him?
Yeah, I think it was Reggie.
And he hit like 3 moves all in like 2 seconds and hit a step back. I mean,
you could spend numerous hours with a guard trying to teach him how to use a ball screen and how to get someone on your hip and what you're reading and what you're looking for. And, guys always stare at the roll guy. Well, Chris Paul just had a segment where all he talks about is all I do is look at where the squeeze guys are. Because I won't even look at the roll guy because I know if he's sticking to his man, I am passing it every time to the roll guy. And I was like, man, what a great teaching point.
Yeah.
And so I feel like what makes the game so cool and so exciting is our job as coaches is to put together a puzzle and to find the best pieces to put together and then to take those pieces and to give them the best system where they're going to thrive in it. And when you look at those guys in the NBA, they all see the game, coaches and players, differently. And so if the 3 of us sit down and we watch a game and we say, hey, for the next 20 minutes, I want you to talk out loud what you see. All 3 of us are going to see the game totally different. And there's a lot to be learned there. And Kobe talked about watching it with his longtime assistant when he was a Laker that he talked about watching film with his assistant coach and how much he learned on how to watch film. And I think there's so much to be said about that, to sit down and watch as a staff. And I feel like you can grow so much when you watch with your boss and, watch players' highlight tapes, watch players' full games that you're recruiting. Something that you find attractive in a player, they might not totally like. And at the end of the day, he's the head coach. And so you need to make sure that they fit his style and his personality. Or you watch something else in practice, they're like, man, that was a really good play. And they're like, well, that's not what we want. And so you really need to fine tune what you're watching because that's how you become the best assistant coach to your head coach.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Asa,
So
you got anything?
Y'all, it sounds like Belmont's going to be running a few more pick ball screens this year. Is it
You're
right?
giving away the scouting report.
I don't know, Asa. How's Tennessee State going to guard ball screens this year? Are you guys going under? Are we fighting over the top? Are we a low hold? I mean, give me something, Asa. I mean, I'm giving everything here. This has become such a take relationship.
When we got y'all twice before Christmas this year, don't we? Or before New Year's?
We do. I hope you guys don't have too much stuff in by then.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm excited for that game to be happening before New Year's. I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm hoping you bring me a Christmas gift. I mean, I don't know.
I'll have something for you. I'll have a little surprise for you.
I appreciate that.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, man.
Hey, that's actually all we have for today, Coach. I appreciate you coming on with us. And just spitting some knowledge with us. I mean, we've gotten to be around you, Asa, 3 years, me 4. I mean, personally, then he had to go work and I got to hang around and be a bum for 1 more year. But just getting to know you and seeing how hard you worked, like I feel like we can both speak on the fact that as a coach, we both want to be able to work as hard as you are and see where you've gone in such a short amount of time is like, it's pretty inspirational. And I'm not just saying that because you're on our podcast and you're our first guest, but there is a reason you're on our podcast and you're our first guest.
Well, I also understand we try to say at the beginning of the podcast that we wanted to set the bar, but I really know you wanted to go low and then bring it all the way up here. You know what I mean? But I do appreciate the kind words. And obviously, you two mean a lot to me. And I would say that at Lipscomb, we had and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, we had a staff full of coaches and support staff that I hope you guys saw, really loved on you guys for your 4 years there. And I think that's the most important thing. I mean, sometimes, it's great to be a great tacticianer, be great organized, but at the end of the day, transformational coaching and really helping your guys take that next step in their lives after their 4 years, wherever that may be. That's the most important thing. This right here is the most important thing. You texted me the other day and asked me to do something, and I don't even flinch at it because I'm like, you know what? First of all, I've watched your stuff between you two where you go back and forth with that. I find very comical. But it's just I would, if you asked me to do something, I'm gonna try my best to make it happen because you guys mean something to me, and I hope one day, like when I need you guys to help me move or to pick up a couch or anything like that, like you guys will be there for me. So.
100%. We would definitely
know that. And know you guys are doing a great job with this. It's big time.
Thank you, man. Thank you. We it was seriously so much fun having you on. We really enjoyed it. Really did.
Yeah, but guys, thank you again, Coach R. Asa, great job. Thank you for tuning in. You can find us on Twitter at mindofacoach1. You can find us on Instagram at mindofacoach. You can also follow our individual pages at the Ace of Spades with a Z on the end. You can follow my individual account as well at Nate5_Moran. And Coach, where can they follow you?
Oh, what is I think I'm at Coach Rutigs. Coach Rutigs.
Okay, so find him there. Coach, once again, yeah, go ahead.
I will tell everybody, I'll end it on this. If anybody who watches this ever wants to reach out to me or shoot me an email, if I can help in any way, I feel like I've borrowed from so many coaches and I've called so many coaches for advice that if I can ever give back, please don't hesitate.
Absolutely. And Coach, we're working on getting you a shirt. So once that comes in, we're going to send it your way. Okay.
I've been working out. Make sure it's like an extra large. Okay. Working out lately.
Mike Bibby. You looking like Mike Bibby, huh?
I'm not that big yet. I'm not even close to that. Not even close. To be honest with you, large. Large is fine. Large is good.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in again. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Appreciate it.